Hello, my friends. Hi, how are you? Hi, my name is Natasha. I am the creator and the founder of the Glow Up Method, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. Um, I don't know if excitement is exactly the word. I'm still feeling very, very subdued. I'm the type of person who, when something happens, I like dive deep into my research mode. I feel like I become like a semi-expert at whatever this particular, obsession, curiosity, whatever it is. I really, really want to get in there and grasp and understand the full effects of, the possibilities. So, here I've been like deep diving, and my daughter's like, Mom, why do you do this to yourself? And like for me, I just seem to do so much better when I have like many different scenarios. I don't go to the ultimate worst case scenario, but I want to know what the scenarios are. What are the ranges? What is the average? What is this person feeling? What are they experiencing? And I know this isn't my child, right? I'm talking about my son's teammate who had a tragic accident and injury, and it's very severe and very serious. And so, I want to know as much as I can about it to, alleviate, like, I guess the shock, I guess, the uncertainty of what will come. And like for example, I was in Costco, I have my earphones on, and I turn on notifications for the Caring Bridge so that when there's an update that I would be getting them. And so I get, I'm in my headphones, and I get a notification, and I just like stop before I go to read it, and I'm like just praying for mercy, like praying for like a miracle, praying that you know is breathing on his own, he is walking on his own, he is moving his body on his own, he's asking his mom for in and out or something. And I wait, and then I open the email, and it's obviously much opposite of what I was, praying and hoping for. And, but because I had read so much about it, it wasn't like a shocking thing to me. It was highly, highly heartbreaking. It was like, you know, a, a, a confirmation of something that you don't want to happen. And now I know from my own experiences that like you don't have to accept, like, miracles happen every day, all the time. And you don't have to accept a doctor's report or a doctor's word as God. Like, they are miracle workers in their own rights, but everything they say and everything you learn, like I like, for me, part of the healing and part of my experience seeing people and things is like, you don't have to take it as like full fact, like it doesn't have to alter who you are. There definitely is a sense of a placebo almost like effect. Like, it's not really placebo because it's actually happening, but like, you know I'm sorry, it's very late. But I have seen, again, like I said, with my aunt, who was like, yeah, I'm kicking cancer's butt, like, look at me. We literally walked into that doctor's appointment, she was telling every single nurse this. She was like telling everybody on the way that she passed, the lady that was passing out coffee and hot cocoa, and every single person, she's, I'm beating cancer, I'm beating cancer, I'm beating cancer, and feeling like alive and vibrant and better than she had in so long. And then he pulls up the PET scan, and he's like, okay, well, the tumors are growing again, and we're gonna have to be more aggressive, we're gonna have to do these things. And you literally just see her shrink into her chair, and all that glee, all that excitement was gone, and nothing had changed except for somebody had told her something that was opposite of what she believed. She walked in that office believing she was kicking cancer's butt, and she left defeated and as if cancer was kicking her butt. And I do believe that there is so much power in how our mental frame is when dealing with any kind of ailment or injury or diagnosis, anything. I mean, it takes a lot of mental willpower to say, I don't accept this report. Like, I believe in a miracle. I believe miracles can happen. And, I ended up doing some research. I ended up, I ask a lot of questions, and I am reading and reading, reading. And I found out that there was a young man who played on the Buffalo Bills, and he too had to have, like, assistance with breathing and things like that. And he has come back and been able to walk with assistance, and is not on, like, you worked really really hard to do this. So there are these stories where it is possible, where the diagnoses or whatever it is, and obviously this is still very early, so there's no telling what will happen in the long run or in the future. This kid is tenacious. Like, he is a fighter. So, and he is competitive as all heck. So, I totally believe that he is resilient enough to overcome anything. Um, but yeah, it is it's just weighs on my soul and my heart. And I can't get not only him, but his mom and his siblings out of my heart and mind. Um, and I try to be like, okay, I'm going to go do these things. So last night, my daughter and I went to go see Inside Out 2. I thought it was a great film and a great way to, explain to kids, adults, anybody watching, about our emotions, right? Like, for me personally, it wasn't until recently that I was like, oh, you're allowed to feel two things at once. I thought it had to be only one thing. Like, I'm only mad, or I'm only sad, or I'm only glad. Like, and I don't know if I've said this example. I probably have. I think I did, actually. But my son, I had planned a family trip. My son did not want to go. He ended up telling me at the very last minute. And, on one aspect, I was sad that he didn't want to go. He had very valid reasons. But then I was also very proud that he stuck up and advocated for himself. So I'm really proud of him for that. But it's just, there's a lot going on. And, I had said here that Chris hadn't been home in a few days. That has an effect on the kids. I worry about him. Like, I'm not his mom, but I have been in a role since we've met that, like, it has been my responsibility partially to take care of him, to make sure he's okay, to tend to his many, many needs, and, be the mature one, be the mom, like, that it isn't a reciprocated kind of relationship. Like, oh, I take care of you, you take care of that. No, that is not what it is. But, I worry, I have concerns. And so, that has been weighing on me. He did return home today, I believe. I haven't really crossed paths with him, but, I talked to him. And amidst his lowness, he had a very, like, broken relationship with his dad for various reasons. And, he's feeling low and he's feeling sad. And ever since I've met him, he has had this, this realization that, he would say oftentimes, like, I'm gonna find out my dad's dead by, seeing it on the internet or something. And that came to fruition. Like, he ended up finding out that, like, his father passed away, but not even just recently. He passed away a few months ago, literally the day before his birthday. And so, not Chris's, but his own birthday. And so, it's just I'm sure a very jarring way to find out, to never have even been given a call. And then even in the obituary, the hard part, he was referenced to as 3 children in California. And so, but it had kudos to the adoring stepchildren that he had. And, it is sad because, there was this hope and this want for a reconciliation, for a relationship. And um a lot of it was, as an observer, like I would say, you can control you, like you can't control him. So if you want a relationship, you're going to have to put in a little more effort. And, he was the type that, like, he's like, well, I tried once, now it's his turn. I'm like, but that's just not how it is. Like, he's old school. If you really want it, you got to fight for it. You got to want it. You got to, put in more effort. And yeah, it's going to be awkward and weird at first, but he is willing to communicate with you. He is, having these conversations with you when you do call. And it's awkward because you don't know each other. It's like calling a stranger, but the more you talk and the more you make a habit out of it, then you get to know one another. And so, here is this other sense of loss for him, right? The relationship with me, which is not hunky-dory, but in his mind, it's at least comfort. It's stable. It's, even if it's not healthy, it has stability. So, I know he's going through a lot. My daughter's experiencing a lot with her, not in-laws, but her boyfriend's parents. And, that's messy, very messy. The parents, from what I understand and hear, are really struggling with their kids growing up and their kids leaving the house, and they still want them to be just the 4 kids, and then you add in the significant others, and now we're just party of 6, and we are all together all the time, going to Home Depot, going to Michael's, doing projects together, having dinner, going to dinner, or whatever it is, like. And they're growing up. When kids grow up, they have to have their own life. It's the circle of life. And she had made comments that she's expected to abandon her family and always go to their events, and just kind of weird, like, of course, right? You don't want to miss out on whatever with your kids and your family and the holidays. But on the same turn, it's like, you have to be fair, right? You have to be like, well, there's another side of family. And I had seen this like really interesting TikTok or YouTube or whatever it was. And it was like, talking about when somebody gets married, right? Like, we all believe that it's like, 2 sides of the family and they're joining as one. But the reality is you and your wife are joining as one. You and your wife, you and your husband, you and whatever, whoever, are joining as one, and you're creating your own family. It's not 2 families coming together. It's 2 people coming together to create their own family. And so hearing that was like a real, like a wake up call for me. Like, yeah, that is true. And so again, I always say, like, I really try to maximize and get the most out of my time with my kids and their conversations with them, because yeah, they're growing up and they're not always going to be here and around. They're going to be living their own life at some point. Some, it may take a little bit longer than others, but some may be doing it quicker. And so, I appreciate that they always know that I'm home. One thing that my daughter had, recognized in the movie was, she said, because she had now seen it twice, and she's like, you notice different things each time. And she said, whenever the daughter was in dismay, there was projections of both parents sitting by her, comforting her. And she's like, I didn't have that, but I had you. And so that was like a very comforting thing for me to hear. At first I was like, and I felt bad because she didn't have the 2 people, but at least she knew I was there. And then she said, yeah, and my boyfriend didn't have anybody. And I was like, yes, that was me. And so I understand that there's a lot of things about his dynamic that I can relate to, and his personality I can very much relate to when I was younger. I'm a lot different now, but it definitely brings up, like, I get what he is going through in so many ways. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting to see that. And then she was like, and I said, that's the cool thing, is you can recognize that and you can make that change for your kids, right? Like, okay, it was an improved generational curse. Like, for me, I had nobody. For you had one somebody. And for your kids, maybe they're going to have 2 people. because it's something that's important to you guys and you've discussed. So, you know, she definitely is a very emotional and sensitive creature. You know, any kind of strife goes like her heart rate goes up, her blood pressure goes up, like everything, like her body tenses up. Like, so I think it was pretty cool in a way to see how in this movie there were so many different things going on the inside, and I think it made her feel that it was okay to feel all these crazy things. Like, we have this perception that everything is okay and everybody's holding it together, but underneath it all, people are really going through a lot of stuff. And so, you know, right now, like, it's a very complex, like, I have one kid who's overcoming an injury, and you know, because he was injured, he was, you know, taken off his team, but not taken off his team, but taken off his team. So you're navigating that. Because he had to miss so much school, he ended up not getting an A in a class and got a B. He just it just there wasn't enough time to make up everything that he had missed, and he worked so hard all year. So it was so upsetting for him. There was also, you know, the fact that his dad was suddenly not here without any explanation or trace. It was just gone. There was, you know, the lack of routine because it's summer, and all the things, like, he hasn't been able to play the game he loves since spring break. Um, and you know, and now the very heavy um confrontation with something that's going on with, like, it's like an extension of the family. These kids are so close, you know, they are together a few times a week at least, and you know, they've grown up together. They've been playing since they were like 5 or 6 years old together. So it is a real serious worry. And you know, yesterday was kind of quiet, the day before was kind of quiet about it, and today he was more inquisitive, you know, more checking in and more like asking questions, and you know, really it's sinking in, and now he's beginning his process thing. And you know, again, like I said, I was like, you know, you know, I don't force my beliefs or my anything on anybody else. And I said, you know, do you pray? And he said, yes, I do. And so I said, find comfort in that, like, know that um miracles happen, and just continue to do that. And you know, I'm here to support you. I'm here with any questions, I'm here with any ideas. And you know, he got all excited. He was talking about how him and his teammates have been talking about how he has a record player and he likes these vinyls, and they're gonna get him a vinyl from, you know, somebody that a musician that he really loves. And so, you know, I thought that was a very thoughtful gift. um, I don't have a ton of contacts, but I always like to do something. So I'm like, shoot my shot. It doesn't hurt to ask. I do have one connection and contact at the San Jose earthquakes. And I reached out to him and was like, I don't know if there's somebody you can connect me with or whatever, to maybe get like a signed ball or a signed jersey or something for him. I know that when Dylan had his, like, it's something we still have. And it was really like a cool, like, feeling to have somebody even be on your local community, people that don't even know you, like, rooting for you and cheering for you. That was like a really beautiful gesture. And then of course the soccer ball signed by like the teammates, you know, like even Tyler got one when he just hurt his knee. And it was just so funny because I'm reading and it was like, we love you, we love you, we love, like love you, like, you know. I was just like, either they're joking or like this group is just really special, or they're teenage boys and it's a little bit of both. But like, just reading how thoughtful each one of the messages were on the ball, it wasn't just like, you know, their name or whatever. Everybody had something very thoughtful and considerate and like caring to say. And so You know, I was thinking too, I was like, okay, Tyler, like he's always been number 13. Like, as far as I remember, like, do you remember being a different number? He's like, no. And even in high school, he was 13. I was like, maybe we can talk to, because we're getting new uniforms right now. I'm like, maybe we can see if we can get a 13 put on your guys' jerseys. Like, that was really something that had been put on the boys, like when Dylan was number 7 at the time, so they all had number 7 on there, and it was like, it was so meaningful to him, and it was very meaningful to me. You know, like before the game they would all get together, like, and take the picture. You know, he would, this is when he was still in the hospital, and it just was like, you're not here, but you're here. And like, it gives this extra layer of motivation and determination for the players on the field that are there. So tomorrow I'm going to call and see if that's like a possibility, if they'd want to do that. I'm not, you know, the team mom or the manager or the coach or anything like that. But I do very much think that he is such a profound impact on that team. He has such a big heart. He's so passionate. He like literally wears his heart on his sleeve. He is like always very like just tenacious, like just goes after it, is competitive. So, Landon, man, oh, I didn't mean to say your name. I'm sorry. I will edit that out. But uh, you know, it's so I apologize. I'm gonna have to edit that out, but I'm gonna have to figure it out, and I will for this thing. But my God, like, life is so precious, and that is all I can say, and that is all I can think. And just sometimes it just seems so unjust, right? Like from a family who's like, we've been through enough. Like I said, I was sitting there at PT, and I'm like, dude, how did I ever complain about this? Yes, I got 2 kids here in PT. One has a year diagnosis, one has a 3 to 6 month, maybe whatever, 9 month, whatever, 6 to 9 months. Let's say in the worst case scenario, prognosis, and they should go about their lives. Yes, they will have some knee pain probably for the rest of their lives. Join the club, right? Like every day my hip hurts, and you know, my whatever hurts, right? Like that's aging. That's gravity hanging on us. But we're still doing the things we love to some degree. I mean, this is like an unfathomable. This is like an extreme injury. And the benefit is there is an amazing community. He is so well liked and so adored on so many fronts, and as is that family. They are a notorious family in town. They are so generous, so caring, very competitive, very inclusive, very, you know, like the older kids are, you know, involved in the schools and their athletics and their churches. So there's a huge community surrounding them in prayers and love. And I know I'm not the only one who is sitting here devastated for them. I read it, I hear it, you can feel it. Like, there is just a sadness in the air. And, you know, there was a young man when my daughter was in, I believe she was still in middle school, but it was one of her classmates. And that dad's job or the parent's job, whatever, was in Dubai, and he was, you know, doing his sport, and he had a spinal injury, and yeah, his life was altered. And I never knew that kid, and it took me months to get over that. And I was always reading and following up and checking on the story, and you know, following up with my daughter once he returned to the States and was eventually in school. And yeah, it's just an unfathomable thing. It's like one of those things that, you know, is out there, and you've heard of, you know, you've heard of you know, what happened to Superman and things like that. But it's like, you just don't, you really want to know that it really exists. It's like, there just aren't even words. It's just, there's just not even words. And so again, all I can go back to is I pray. I believe in miracles. I believe that he has such spirit about him that will make this journey so much better, and he will be competitive with himself, and he will want to return to, you know, as functioning as he possibly can. So he will do everything in his power. I know that. And so all right now we can do is pray and hope and wish and do all those things and surround that family with support and love. And I appreciate and am grateful that their daughter is having the courage to communicate to all of us, and that she has taken that on, so mom and dad can focus on the patient and focus on their other kids and probably a million other things that are swirling in their mind as, you know, they contend with this. There's something crazy too, like if you've never had to stay in a pediatric children's hospital, it's a blessing, right? I have throughout my parenthood experience, and it's humbling, right? Because you can be there in a worst case scenario, like, you know, something terrible, a brain surgery, a heart surgery. Like this is a bad deal. This is not good. But yet you see others around you who perhaps have it worse. Like, you know, you see there was, you know, young kids with leukemia, and they're in the wagon, and they've got like their treatment stuff and their IV, and this is like their home. They're like cruising the halls like it's nothing else. Like, you know, they got it down. They got these things, and, you know, I do love the facility in which he's at. I have a personal kinship there. You know, Dylan was one of the first surgeries after the facility opened, and it wasn't even like parts of it weren't fully even opened when he was there. But it's beautiful, and when I just recently was there for Tyler's, there's a sense of peace within the chaos. They really do a good job of creating nature spaces and piano music and art and things that can kind of make a very difficult and uncomfortable situation as pleasant as it possibly can. I love, love, love. Like if I ever went into like a nursing or a medical thing, I would probably love to work in this field. It was like child life, and they do such a good job at not only focusing on the patient, but also bringing the family and other siblings into the equation. There are rooms that you can go in and play video games and watch TV and play board games and do art and bubbles and other activities that like just kind of make you feel a little bit normal again. You're allowed, once you get out of the ICU part, you're allowed to cruise anywhere in the hospital. I mean, at least we were. And, you know, it was in the wheelchair, and I'm like, we can go, you know, and I'm like, heck yeah, like, let's go. And there were times we would just go sit out on there was like a veranda that had succulents and things growing. We would just sit out there and feel the sun. Like, I swear there's something so healing about the sun and feeling that on you and just getting in the fresh air versus, you know, the recycled hospital air. So I say all that to say, go out there today and just be kind. Go out there and show the people you love that you love them. Treat them well, treat them with kindness, and go out there today. Give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.